Sup guys, Mikey here for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council with Guide to Your Side, your weekly video for dealing with decks that you have trouble with. So, today I have for you ABCs and how to take care of their shenanigans. So if you guys don't know what ABCs do, they typically focus on summoning Buster Dragon, Tsukiyomi, and swarming the board with the effect of Buster Dragon to keep you in check. Now, while being not that difficult to deal with, they just need to hit the right card to stop your entire combo. And the basically the bread and butter of the deck are these 7 cards here, or 8 cards. Galaxy Soldier, Photon Thrasher, Gold and Silver Gadget, and the ABC cards with Union Hanger. Besides the regular staples like Twin Twisters, Dimensional Barrier, Solemn Strike, stuff like that. This is the main few cards that I used for the main deck, and for the extra deck, they typically focus on Buster Dragon, Girgian X, and Bujintel Tsukiyomi. And sometimes Infinity if they're doing the Galaxy Soldier, if they teched in Galaxy Soldier. And the rest of it is just rank 4 spam. Double Castel, double Direwolf, 101 Abyss Dweller, Heartland Draco, stuff like that. So how do you deal with the fusion / exceed spam? For one, there is Gamma Seal. So when they summon ABC Buster Dragon, you just Gamma Seal it, and they're stuck with no materials to return them back. So Buster Dragon is completely not a threat after you Gamma Seal. Its use is completely negated in the game, and if you use this against them in your second duel, then you pretty much have the win over them if you can swarm fast enough. Ally of Justice Quarantine and Ally Justice Cycle Reader. There's nothing to talk about. You just summon it, and it stops all light monsters from being special summoned. So, no Soldier, no Thrasher, no Gadgets. Go Gadget, no. Bad joke is bad. So they can't do much, and the only beat stick that they have is a Assault Core that can take it out. And Cycle Reader is helpful for getting rid of the ABC cards that were returned to the graveyard if you decided to force out Buster Dragon, and you went for a field clearing type of turn. So, Cycle Reader definitely has its uses, and I just deleted it by accident, so sorry about that. And to deal with the exceeds, I think your not the only option, but the best option would be Flying C. Only because they can't really do much to get it off their field besides attacking into your monsters. So, they have really nothing to get rid of that field unless they force out their own play. Unless they force out, like, they can't even force out a Direwolf or a Castel unless it's already on the field. So you can't really go into their exceeds, and if you combo this with Quarantine on the second duel's first turn, because obviously you can't side deck on the first duel, that would be pretty broken. So if you combo this with Quarantine, they're pretty much locked out of their own plays. They can't do much. They're stuck for that turn until they find a way to get rid of the Flying C. Now, as always, there is Ghost Reaper, which if you choose to use Buster Dragon in your extra deck slot, you'll banish all their Buster Dragons, and the only way that they can overcome this is part of Acquisitiveness. This is their only way back into the game. Besides this, Burial from a Different Dimension, and DDR. Only cards that return banished monsters. can help them deal with banishing, because that's the one issue this deck deals with, having their cards banished. And it's for that same reason that I recommend Soul Release as well, because again, once you force out their ABC Buster Dragon play, once you force them back to the field, you can just Soul Release them, Soul Release all 4 cards, and just relieve yourself with the headache of them spamming 24/7. And the more they go into their deck with Yugen Hanger to spam out their ABC cards, the faster this game will go. Now we talk about System Down. There's not much to talk about. It's the end-all, be-all card to deal with ABCs. It banishes all face-up machines from their field and their graveyard with the simple cost of 1,000 life points. Now, the reason you don't want to use Acid Rain as opposed to System Down is because Acid Rain just destroys the monsters. It doesn't really stop them because they can just play off the graveyard, which is why Necro Valley is also good, but Necro Valley is later. So System Down will be the end-all be-all card next to Ghost Reaper, Flying Sea, and Quarantine. So definitely this card is the one to stop the whole deck entirely. Now, we talked about Acid Rain. Now, DD Designator is something I wanted to talk about as well, because it does the same thing that Mind Crush does, except instead of destroying, it banishes. And the same rule and the same concept applies for the drawback if you fail to call a card right. So, again, it's better for the banishing, but it's not good for if you don't get it right. Plus, there are ups and downs between Mind Crush and Designator. Mind Crush can be set and then used once you know what's in your opponent's hand, but you run the risk of getting it Twin Twistered and then calling a blind pick. Where DD Designator is a blind pick either way, unless you want to wait the turn. But either one is useful, but I think people would prefer Mind Crush over Designator, even though it doesn't affect the ABCs as much. Sorry about that. Prohibition is another card to consider, because you can just simply call ABC Buster Dragon and watch them as they play the game with only Exceeds. And again, if you use this in conjunction with Flying Sea, well, they can't really play the game, can they? All they can do is go into Thrasher and Galaxy Soldier and just summon their monsters and swarm the field. That's all they can do until they draw Twin Twister or something to get rid of Prohibition. But remember, cards on the field before this was activated are not affected, so if they already have a Buster Dragon or a Yugen Hanger, this card will not work. You would have to get rid of the Buster Dragon first and call Prohibition. So one downside to this card, and I did side deck against ABCs using this once, and it was pretty effective, just like from player experience. Necro Valley is also, as I said before, one of the cards to use against ABCs because they cannot banish from the graveyard, and that's where they typically summon, and that's how they typically summon ABC Buster Dragon. They banish A, B, and C from the graveyard to summon it, because they did the whole Bujintel, the whole Tsukuyomi setup. For those of you who don't know what the setup is, it's just Yugen Hanger, search, summon Thrasher, summon Gold Gadget, summon Silver Gadget, go into Tsukuyomi, place down all your resources that you need for later, and then drop. Make sure then the player will ensure they have the ABC cards at that point in their hand. So they'll just drop all of them with Tsukuyomi, draw 2, and that's just a big plus. Especially if you draw Potted Desires afterwards. Well, I'm not sure if that would be plus or not, but yeah. So, Non-Fusion Area is another card to look out for when you're facing ABCs. They can summon their Buster Dragon, but you can't Fusion Summon either. This also works against other decks that Fusion Summon, but this is against ABCs, not other decks, so... Non-Fusion Area, White Imprisoning Mirror, not much to talk about. Just negate their effects, their white monster effects. So this actually is a bit more safer if you want to go for safe. as opposed to just being all out aggressive with Necro Valley and System Down. But if you just want to stall them, which I don't understand, which like Burn Deck stall or Ghost Ricks, like Light Imprisoner is basically a stall card because they can't do much with it without their effects. And lastly, we have Grand Horn of Heaven. Yeah, it does stop any of the summoning types as long as it's I think it's inherent, if that's the right term. Someone can correct me on that, but basically, if you like Pendulum Summon, or if you special summon like Thrasher, or if you special summon Buster Dragon, or if you Exceed Summon, Grand Horn will negate all of that. Obviously, they do get the draw, but here's the kicker: they don't. They have to skip their main phase. They have to end their main phase, whether it's main phase 1 or main phase 2. So they either have to go into main phase 2 or go into their end phase, depending on which phase they're in. So even though they get the +1, the draw 1, there's not much they can do with that draw 1 typically. But it all depends on what they draw, you know? So that's it for my guide to your side. Let me know what cards you guys use to deal with ABCs in the comments below. And let me know what you guys think about these cards. If you want to, if you were to only choose one card, in my opinion, if you only have like 2 slots left, I would say go for 2 System Downs. Or if ABCs are your only issue and like everything else is not an issue for you, I would say Flying Sea, System Down, Necro Valley, Cherry, and Quarantine. Those and Gamma Seal. Those are the few cards that you would run. Like even if it's 1 of each or 2 of each, those are the cards you would use to mainly take care of ABCs. So make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And join us for our live stream tomorrow. Go ahead and vote for what deck you want to see on the live stream tomorrow. You can join us on Skype, join us on YGO Pro, join us on anything you want to join us on. And join our Discord, and go ahead and check out the Discord chat as well, because that's where players go. That's where everyone can go and interact and just like have a relaxation time. You know? Just go ahead and relax. It's all about the community. And just feeling like you can say whatever you want and not be penalized for it, you know? So, without further ado, I will see you guys later. Peace.